My name is Alex Quinn-Aldehu. I represent Brunswick in the Maine State Legislature. I'm working with the Truman National Security Project and Operation Free. We're very happy to see everyone here today, especially on kind of a rainy day. I'm from Maine, and I flew in here. The senator was talking. This must be a mild and balmy day for Maine. So we're very happy to be here. I'm very pleased that you're here today. Because Operation Free is a coalition of veterans and national security organizations have really come together because we believe that climate change is a serious threat to our national security. I saw this firsthand when I was deployed in 2006 in the Marine Corps in and around Fallujah. And we were on a patrol, and my vehicle was hit by an IED, or improvised explosive device. Luckily, the person who did it was not very skilled, and we were able to catch him. And we found out that he was a farmer who had essentially been paid a couple $100s to plant this roadside bomb. And it really struck me and maybe gave me pause for thought of how the political instability there had created the opportunity for him to be recruited to essentially go after us. And really, looking at a broader sense, 9 out of the 10 top failed states in the world are primarily due to environmental reasons. And in the military, we call this a threat multiplier. We call climate change a threat multiplier. So as a result, you see our national security organizations taking this threat seriously. For instance, the CIA has put a Center on Climate Change together. And recently, this past Monday actually, the DoD has put out the quadrennial report. And in that report, about page 85 or so, if you feel to read the hundreds of pages, but it is very important in the fact that they're looking at climate change as a serious national security threat, an emerging threat. As a result, also the Navy is reducing their carbon pollution by 50% by 2020. The Marine Corps is trying to be just as good with it, if not better, reduce their carbon pollution by 30% by 2025. So we see our national security organizations taking the lead on this issue. And we would want to see Congress do the same. And right here we have a leader who has been taking this threat seriously and working on energy and national security issues for a long time. I know Senator Reid, he opposed 2 coal-fired powered plants from entering the area because he knew that the renewable energies would make us more energy independent and more secure. He has a long history of leadership when looking at climate change, when looking at energy issues, and most recently he would work to bring competing companies together to create this grid, which has nearly never been done in conjunction with the federal government. And what that allows Nevada to do is become more energy independent while creating jobs at the same time. So we are very pleased to be there, traveling across the nation, and very happy to be in Nevada with such a great leader on this issue. So Senator Reid.
Thank you very much. Some wonder why veterans would be involved in something like energy. It's pretty easy to answer. Because energy is an issue of national security. It's inseparable from the other things we do. I mean, how can we be a secure nation when we ship billions and billions of dollars overseas and buy 7.5 billion barrels of oil every year from some of the folks that don't say very good things about us and don't do very good things toward us? 7.5 billion barrels of oil we use every year. 21 million barrels of oil a day. We import about 70% of those 21 million barrels of oil. So this is all national security. And I appreciate very much your mentioning a few of the things we've worked on. But the main thing that we need to recognize is that people are working on security issues, and it's no longer how big the armies are or how fast the planes can fly, but how are we going to be secure with our economy. For example, why are we so concerned now about moving from coal to natural gas? To be the so-called bridge until we get to have an energy independent society in America. The reason is, it is an American product. We have more natural gas than any country in the world, and it pollutes about 40% less than diesel fuel. So it's something we need to move to as quickly as we can. I appreciate you mentioning the power line. That is so important to Nevada, but it's more important to the whole West. What is this we're talking about? Last time I was home, I went up to the Harry Allen plant, about 35 miles north of Las Vegas. And the backdrop was perfect because we had 700 people working, making some noise, as construction people do, moving around up on those scaffolds, pouring cement. But that was the backdrop for something even more important than that new plant they're building there. And that is, for the first time in the history of our state, there will be the ability to bring power from the north to the south. That will allow Nevada to be energy independent in 3 years. And after that, all energy we produce over and above that, we can sell to very power-hungry California and other places. And that is, you're right, it's something made possible as a result of the Economic Recovery Act we passed, because we put in that some incentives for the Western Area Power Administration for the first time in the history of the country to be involved in energy moving. That is the smart grid, as you talked about. And there was the head of the Western Area Power Administration at Harry Allen plant, the head of NV Energy, Michael Yakira, the head of LS Power, Mike Siegel, and we were there to tell everyone that the deal had been done, that we will be able to bring that power from north to south, and after that, we're going to be able to tie into the Northwest. And the reason that's so exciting for us in Nevada is because the power line will go from southern Nevada up above Ely, and there is much in the way of population there, but there's a lot of land. And on that land, we can put all kinds of solar plants, wind generating facilities, and the farther north you get, more geothermal. So that's really exciting. So I appreciate each one of you being here. This is the third tour they've done. But when this is all over, they will have traveled the country, explaining to America how important it is that we recognize that we have problems with energy, and we are not a secure nation as long as we're using this 7.5 billion barrels of oil every year that we don't have.
Thank you, Senator. We have some other veterans who have been traveling across the nation with us. They're going to share their stories of the issue of national security and climate change, how we're going to take control of our energy future.
Thank you for coming out. My name is Patrick Bellin. I served the Army, the 4th Infantry Division in Iraq of '03. You know, when veterans are going around talking about energy, it's a great opportunity because it's a non-traditional message for us. People just kind of automatically want to hear what we have to say because you get that curiosity up. And they say, why do veterans care about clean energy? And I would say to them, the same reason we joined the service in the first place. We joined the service because we have a vision of how we want America to be safe and prosperous. And reliance on a single resource from nations that do not like us, are openly hostile to our interests in some cases, does not fit that value system that we continue to do. So this is just another way for us to continue serving the country that we love so much, that drove us to make that decision to join the service in the first place. Now, energy, as the Senator said, is very integral to everything we do. It's not just about how we move our cars. It's everything we make. It's every time you wash your clothes. It's the single most important thing. We're just not aware of it because it's so abundant. We don't really question where it comes from as a society, because we just flip the switch, the lights come on. So we have our non-traditional messengers and our non-traditional message to raise this awareness. And once these linkages are made between national security and our energy policy and consumption, people really seem to get it, and they kind of come around a little bit. It's just another way to raise that awareness, because we're all going to have to work together to solve this problem. It's not going to be one technology that's going to solve this issue. It's going to be a multitude of technologies, multitude of people coming